Have you crossed the finish line and now find yourself wondering how to stay motivated without a race on the horizon? Are you struggling to shift gears after the structure and intensity of a big training block? What if the post-race period is actually your biggest opportunity to reset, rebuild, and come back even stronger? Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome to episode number 153 of the Flying RuNR podcast. If you've just come back off a huge training block or a big race day, you'll know that strange mix of emotions that follows. Pride, relief, fatigue, and sometimes a surprising sense of what now? After weeks or months of structure, intensity, and purpose, and the sudden drop-off can feel almost as challenging as the build-up itself. On this episode, we're diving into how to keep moving forward once the finish line has been crossed. Whether you've smashed a PB, battled through a tough race, or simply ticked off a major goal, we'll explore the physical and mental reset that comes next and how to channel the momentum into your next phase without burning out or losing motivation. As you know, we love running and sharing our adventures of running around the world. We are the only podcast with 5 7-star World Marathon Major runners, and this is the Flying RuNR podcast. Are you ready to run? Let's go.
It's the Flying RuNR. Run far, run free. Host the 7 stars, inclusive as can be. It's the Flying RuNR for you and me.
Welcome back. Tonight I'm joined by all of our regular co-hosts, Tony, Peter, and definitely my better half, Tara. However, Lucia is not here. She's taking a break this week. So, guys, it's great to see you all again. How has your week been? I might start with you, Tony. You're on the left. Let's go with you.
Just another week for us. Sharon didn't get out for a run, unfortunately. She got caught up doing some things. Our son's been out playing dog sitter for the last couple of weeks. And, of course, Sharon, being the good mum, goes over and helps clean up for the people popping home. So she got caught up. But, yeah, the knee's going well. I was on the exercise bike a couple of times last week. It was hurting a bit on Friday, so maybe I overdid it. So I pulled back and went for a walk instead and went for a walk this morning. So all things going well at this stage. So looking forward. I'm now week 3. This Friday will be week 4. So I know one of our listeners, regular listeners, Mark, started running at the end of 4 weeks. Now, Mark, I'm not going to be that silly. I'm going to wait the full 6 weeks. But, there's starting to be some real positive sense of what's to come next, I think. So, yeah, that's it for me.
Yep. And we caught up with Mark on Saturday, and he said the same thing. Just take that extra week or 2 longer. Don't get in there at 4 weeks. So good advice. All right, Peter, how has your week been? And hello.
Great, thank you, guys. Hello. Saturday, I actually got to parkrun, which was lovely. I made my way over to Kingscliff, which is a beautiful, flat, shady parkrun on the New South Wales North Coast. And I have some really lovely friends there. And also it's such a great volunteer crew. It's just such a pleasure to be there. And then Sunday I headed out for my 24K, and unfortunately halfway through I could feel a massive blister developing on my heel on the inside. And I was literally in the middle of nowhere with no supplies. So I thought, I'm going to have to go home. So after 12K, I went home. I put some KT tape over it, and then just kept running. I went on my treadmill and did the other 12K. I was just so determined. I didn't want to quit. And then now I've got this big blister with kinesiology tape over it, and I can't take it off. So I don't know what to do about it. Like, if I take it off, I'm going to rip it open. So I'm in a pickle now. So typical. But yeah, one more long run next weekend, and then we should be good to go for Gold Coast.
Rip it off, rip it off, rip it off.
Oh, really?
No, soak it off. Soak it off. Just keep your foot until it goes to your knees. Yeah. Keep it in water until it goes to the bone.
We'll give it a go.
Maybe with some dishwashing detergent, because that gets rid of sticky stuff. Yeah.
Because they're quite gluey. It's really wonderful under your bra, ladies, I will say. Like, I used to get really bad chafing under the crop top line, and then I just buy the cheap Elastoplast brand, and it has revolutionized that. No more chafing. It doesn't hurt to take it off. And I used to come home and lather up in Amelin every week because I was red raw. So that tape is great. It works. It's just pretty hard to get off a blister, but desperate times I had to do it.
Yeah. Yep. No, rip it off. That's my advice. You got 3 weeks to Gold Coast, 2 weeks from when this episode drops. You've got plenty of time for that blister to heal.
All right. And I have to mention too, when I got home, I'm not ashamed. I was so tired. I spent the next 6 hours lying on the couch watching Comrades. I don't know if any of the listeners watched it as well. It was so great. It was just on YouTube. You could watch it like it was a footy match. And I just got fascinated with the history and all the things the commentators were pointing out. And Gerda Stein as well, that won the women's race. She was just mesmerizing, running along with a big smile on her face. And she finished fresh as a daisy, doing interviews, talking, cheering home all her fellow competitors. It was just so compelling. I absolutely loved it. So that was a very nice recovery after that horror of Sunday morning.
Yep. And Tara, how has your week been?
It was good. So what did I do? I did my run coaching group on Tuesday morning. Always enjoy that. Took it a little bit easier because we had run the Brisbane half marathon the week before, obviously listening to the body. So I did it at about 80% rather than the 400% that I would normally be running that at. And then I took it pretty easy for the rest of the week. We did do park run. We headed down to Main Beach Park Run, caught up with some regular listeners of ours, Mark and Kylie, who Tony was just talking about, and also Samantha and Namelka. So that was lovely. Had some brekkie with them. Then we came home and did our long run on Sunday. It went well for the first half out. Coming back, there was a bit of a headwind, and the part that we were doing, because when we do our 30K part of it, it goes over the hills. And if anyone's ever done the jetty to jetty course, it's the hilly part of the jetty to jetty course that we run the last end of the 30K, or the middle part of our 30Ks in. And I knew about that. So it was a little bit slower coming home than going out. And the headwind didn't help as well. So nice tailwind going out, and then the hills coming back with the headwind. But we got it done. So 30K's done. We'll try and smash out a little bit more, maybe about 25 to 30 next week, and then, taper down for the Gold Coast.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, as I said to you, Tara, it's not about pace. It's about getting confidence. It's about endurance. It's about building up leg strength. And it's most importantly is just time on feet. So you've got the pace. You showed that at the Brisbane Half Marathon. It's just that distance in the legs. That's all it was about. Pace is irrelevant at this stage.
Yeah, and Gold Coast isn't about pace anyway. Gold Coast is about completing the double in a way that we can actually walk again the next day. So it's about the challenge of completing the double rather than the actual speed of that one. So, yeah.
Yeah, and my challenge is really to get you and our son Patrick home. So.
Probably me.
Yeah, no, not you. You're doing really well. Tony, do we have any feedback from our listeners this week?
It's been a very quiet week from our listeners, which sort of would, I think, please Lucia, because there wasn't a lot of feedback around the trail episode.
Oh, I got quite a feedback personally.
So there was so direct feedback to Team Alice, but certainly none. But I do have to say there is a new Your Pace and Glory song being released in the early hours of the morning. And for everyone who's ever run Zone 2 and then gone onto their Strava and made up an excuse as to why it was so slow, this song is for you. It's called Code for Zone 2. And once again, I think it's a cracker. But
jog with the crew. Yeah, that's code for I'm running Zone 2. No fireworks, no headline pace. Just building something they can't replace. Jog with the crew. Zone
It's a
2.
cracker. But no feedback that I'm aware of. So
Yeah, no, the trail running community definitely let Tara and myself know about it last week. So there was a quiet little revolt from many of our friends who do trail running. So we'll leave it at that. But thank you, everyone, for who does provide us with notes and information and feedback. It's always much appreciated, good, bad, and whatever else. So excellent. All right, Tara, it's that time of the week where we do some trivia. Have you got a clue for this week?
I do. So my first clue is this item can help you recover by boosting blood flow, flush out metabolic waste, and reduce inflammation.
I don't know what it is, but I want it.
I might have an idea.
A few things. Again.
Thinking?
But I don't know.
Puzzled.
yeah, I'm a little bit like Peter. Just whatever it is, can I have some? So
Yeah, please.
I've got an idea, but I'll keep it to myself at this stage.
Okay.
Likewise.
All righty, we'll leave it at that now. It's time to go to the news. Tony, what's been happening around the world this week?
All right. So looking at the news, there's been a couple of things that are dominated, and Peter's already talked about one, and that's Comrades, but I'll touch on that a little later. But Cape Town. I was going to do a bit of a timeline on when we spoke about it, because there's been an understanding that each of the hosts were wrong with their timeline. Some were less wrong and others were more wrong, but as it was described to us by the person that was more wrong, we're all wrong. So Cape Town has now been announced as the officially the 8th Abbott's World Marathon Major. And it becomes the first ever major held on African soil, marking a historic moment for the continent. The race earned its place after successfully completing a multi-year evaluation process, including passing the final criteria at the 2026 event. Its official debut as a as a major will be on May 23rd, 2027. And I believe that part of the criteria from Abbott's was waiting for endorsement from the Flying RuNR. So, and once they'd heard that we had all registered to attend, I think that was the thing that brought forward the announcement. The inclusion helps obviously close a major geographical gap, bringing the series to almost every inhabited continent except South America, and reflects Africans' dominance in distance running. It provides greater accessibility for African runners who previously had to travel internationally to experience a major. It's expected to have a significant tourism and economic boost to Cape Town, attracting global runners and spectators. So the interesting thing, of course, was that in this year, the people that run it were also granted initially a provisional star for running the race, which has now been turned into a full star. And because of that, we now have a total of 2,094 runners that have now achieved their 8-star status. And when we break it down, there's 82 from Australia, 10 runners from New Zealand, 452 from the US, 156 from the UK, 57 from Japan, 95 from China, surprisingly high numbers, 97 from Germany, and 48 runners from France. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, but anyway, I'm glad Cape Town is now officially, it's probably one of everything, everyone was expecting it to become the 8th major. So it's got here in the notes that none of us picked the timing, but some were closer. So it's fabulous news. So, Tim, your thoughts?
I think it's fantastic news. I think we all knew it was going to happen. It was a formality. I don't think Abbott's was waiting for our endorsement, because if they are, they'll be waiting a long time for Shanghai, because we'll be some time away from going to Shanghai. But look, this is fantastic. I think it's great for the sport of running. It's great for Africa and Cape Town. And I think it just gives everyone just another little thing to look forward to after they get their dinner plate size medal for the 6.
Peter, you mentioned Comrades. Maybe next year you could do a combination of Cape Town and then Comrades.
There's just a small issue, though. You've got to do a sub 5-hour marathon to qualify for Comrades, which I'll never be able to do. So that kind of rules me out, and probably would not want to do them that close together. But Tim can do it.
Yeah, he could.
And probably
But will he?
No,
just a little over 2 weeks.
90 Ks is too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a record.
Like a great. Sorry, Tony.
No, you're right.
It looks like an amazing atmosphere. Like, I think if you did want to do an ultra and you weren't a trail runner, Lucia, this is a road ultra opportunity. One that has that very special history and so prestigious. And there is a bit of a scary cutoff with 12 hours. I think even if I did qualify, I'd be pushing it to do that. But yeah, imagine how you'd feel after 90 kilometres. You'd feel pretty good if you were Gerda Stein, but not anyone else. So, it is there. They're only a few weeks apart, but no, not for me.
I wonder how many people next year will take up the challenge. So let's talk about 2026 results at Comrades. It was a record-breaking day. The male George Cush winning the men's race in 5 hours, 15 and 56 seconds. That just defies logic in my mind. I'm sorry. And then Gerda Stein taking the women's title in 5:44:53. And they're both new up-run course records. Cush smashed an 18-year-old record by nearly 9 minutes, while Stein claimed her 5th Comrades victory, further cementing her legacy as one of the greatest ever. Just incredible. The men's race, exceptionally fast, of course, 5:15, my God, with the top 5 all finishing quicker than the previous course record. Podium highlights some names that I can't pronounce, but they were second and third. And then in the women's podium, there was another 2 runners who I also can't pronounce, and they were also on the podium. Tim, do you want to have a crack at the names?
For the men's, it was Peter Wersima and came second, and in third place was Mbuti Molo, who came third. In the women's, Nombukoshi Toshoma came second, and Irvet Van Zyl came third.
So South African, well done. That was awesome. I had no chance. South African runners dominated, winning both races and featured heavily in the top 10. Tara, are you ever going to do Comrades?
If I could do it in the time frame, absolutely, I'd do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I always like a challenge. You know me.
Absolutely. So, all right, that's possibly
Up
Team
or down?
Nellis.
Up or down, Tara?
Next.
Which one are we doing?
Well, I like downhill running, but it doesn't matter because even though they say it's a downhill race, it's not really. Like, it's all hilly. So, yeah. It's okay. Yeah. I would just do it, but I just would never qualify or be able to make the cutoff.
You could, though. And you know what else next year is the 100th running too. So I reckon there'll be a lot of people who would want to do that and then maybe combine it with Cape Town as well. Like if you could, it's very
good
tempting.
pickup. They'll probably make the medals smaller for the milestones.
There'll be the 5-cent coin.
So you get a dinner plate at Cape Town and then you get a coin. at Comrades. And just the final bit of news, Parkrun's new milestones. Of course, the one that everyone is talking about is Team Ellis. We're on the Parkrun Australia Facebook page for their amazing milestone of 500 parkruns. But Parkrun itself hit a historic milestone with 1 millionth event over the last weekend, marking one of the biggest participation achievements in grassroots sports. Let's not forget, this started with just 13 runners back in 2004 and 5 volunteers at Bushy Park Run, Bushy in London, and has now grown to well over 2,800 events across 23 countries with 12 million registered participants. Across those million events, parkrunners have recorded nearly 140 million finishes, showing the sheer reach of the weekly 5-kilometre movement. Community-driven success is what it is. They remain free. The event's volunteer-led and inclusive, with hundreds of thousands of people walking, jogging, running, volunteering every weekend worldwide. Tara, I know you and Tim love your parkruns. Peter, I know you do too. It's absolutely crazy to think that it's now hosted 1 million events. Amazing.
It's pretty awesome, isn't it? And it's amazing to think how many people's lives have changed because of that one event that started with finished tokens that were washes from the hardware store.
Yeah, that's how it started.
Absolutely. And that's the news for this week. Back to you, Tim.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Now it's time for Tara's second clue in Tara's trivia.
Thanks, Tim. So this item is something that requires power to work and is usually quite expensive. However, if you are doing rigorous workouts or endurance events, it is well worth the price tag.
I think I know.
You think you know?
Yeah. Can I say?
No.
No, you've got to wait till at least the last clue.
And we'll let you guess first. How about that? Deal?
I might change my mind, but I think I know. All right, we're going to leave it at that. We'll wait until after we talk the next bit, which is our main theme tonight, which is how do we keep moving forward once we've had a big training block or we've had a race day? How do we beat those post-race blues or the post-training block blues? And I know it's a feeling that we've all had as runners from time to time. And I know we've had guests on before who've talked about when you achieve even just the 6-star medal, it's something you take a long time to achieve. You spend a lot of time and effort focused on it, and you come off after that and you're left with the blues. It could be also that you've trained for a big race and then you don't have much to look forward to after that. It can take a little bit of time to restructure yourself. So just, I guess, as a heads up, guys, and I might start from right to left this time. Tara, have you ever had that feeling when you've completed a big training block or finished a race about what comes next and sort of feeling a bit down because of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that after my probably the first 5 or 6 marathons or half marathon, any of the major, not even major races, but any of those races that you put a lot of effort into, a lot of training into, it's almost like you go into almost I wouldn't say depressional state, but it's sort of like your mind is like, well, what's next? What have I got to look forward to? And I don't know if I put it down to being tired from actually finally achieving what I've done and putting everything into that one day, or is it a case that I've achieved that goal and I didn't put myself in for something else straight away afterwards? So yeah, yep, definitely felt it.
Yep. And Peter?
Yes, definitely. There's one in particular that stands out that was very significant, was after Tokyo 2020 got cancelled. Like, we didn't even get to do the race. It was 12 days out. I'd had the best training block of my life. I was on for a PB, and the world just exploded. And, you know, with COVID, everything got shut down. So not only did our event that we'd been looking forward to for so long get cancelled, and we thought we'd be the only ones affected, our whole lives and our lifestyles changed as well. So the cumulative effect of all that was huge. I remember having trouble sleeping, and I'd sort of get up at 2 a.m., see what all the runners are talking about in the World Marathon Majors Challenge group, and just the effect of everyone. You know, first it was Chinese runners were banned, then it was international runners, and then the whole event got cancelled, apart from the elites. And I remember there was a good 3 or 4 weeks where I was just devastated and I didn't know what to do with myself. And you know, I remember some friends of mine ran like a sort of a virtual marathon around their training ground, and they were FaceTiming me, trying to involve me in the moment, and I couldn't even answer the phone. That's how bad it was. So there was also another post-marathon blues, definitely after the 6 star, achieving that in Boston and sort of coming back. And while I had things to look forward to, like definitely pacing has filled that huge gap in my life. That's given me a purpose and something to look forward to. You're still not always prepared for how it's going to feel when you've got that big goal, and then you come to that question of what now.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it? What now? So Tony, if you asked yourself what now at times?
Yeah, absolutely. And the way I'd sort of describe it is that it's a real roller coaster of emotion. So you're finishing a good block, or even not a not good block. So, and because if you've had a good block and you've had a good run, you're excited, you're invigorated, you're quite up. But then if you haven't had a good block and you've had a struggling sort of a race, you're just relieved that you got through it, right? So, but it's then once you've gone through it, and then you start thinking about, and I think Sydney last year was the big one for especially Sharon and I, because as many people know, Sharon and I, well, Sharon struggled, and because Sharon struggles and we run together, I struggled. And we were really quite flat after Sydney because it was much tougher than what we'd expected. And really, and I don't think we were the only ones. It was a tough day out on course.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a real, like, if I was to have walked away from having some quiet drinks with some not so quiet friends after Sydney, I would have envisaged that none of us were ever going to run a marathon again, because that was a little bit of the tone for some of us. But yeah, it's about understanding that's that chapter and it's closed, and now it's time to move on to whatever the next chapter is going to be. So it's about celebrating as much as you humanly can, and don't dive into. I'm sort of getting ahead of myself, but yes, I have had that what next, and then by the next day or 2 days after, you start to think, well, you know, we've got Amsterdam coming up now. So
yeah, and I guess that's the physical reality of things too, guys. I think we've all done things pretty quickly, and I know, speaking with Tara and myself, you know, we started on the major marathon journey in 2020, and it got cancelled with Tokyo, and then it was 2022 before we could do our first major. And by the end of 2024, we'd wrapped up all 6 majors and we were going, what's next? But what we probably didn't realize was we were shoving a lot of marathons into a very short period of time in order to do that. And it had a bit of an impact on our body. And I think that's what happens when you get wrapped up in whatever it is, whether it's training block for a big marathon or whether it's building up over a long period of time to hit a certain challenge, you know, achieve the 6 majors and get the dinner plate medal, or go for all 9 when they come out. We tend to forget that we just need a bit of a reset, I think. And I don't know about you guys, but it's taken me a while after all those couple of years of stressful training and just constantly training, constantly racing, to come out the other side and realize that actually my body was really fatigued and I needed a break anyway. Tara, you're nodding your head. Is that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I can relate so much to what Peter just said with Tokyo. I remember getting the news and I actually just bawled my eyes out because same thing as you, Peter. I had just done the best training. I was probably going to be about a 4-hour marathon, is what my training was showing for that time. That was going to be my PB. And not only just that, I had actually just been diagnosed with some really bad heart problems about 2 weeks beforehand. So I knew that that would be my last chance to get that really good training run in. So, and with Tony, same thing. Like Sydney, I remember that night at our party after Sydney, and we were all sitting there just going, I don't know if we're going to do this anymore. Like Sydney, I don't think, yes, it's a fantastic race. It was fun, but I think we all really felt that one. And was that because we were on the back of a really long training block, like what Tim was saying, you know, we would smash out all the majors in a really short period of time. Probably, yeah. It was quite a tough time actually thinking back to that one, Tony, and I'm glad you brought that up because I sort of blocked it out. But yeah, I think you're right. Not in a bad way, but you know, like I think you're
Absolutely.
right. Yeah.
Well, you think about you guys leading into Sydney. So last year you did the quaddie at the Gold Coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you did jetty to jetty, and did you do Sunshine Coast as well?
Mm-hmm.
That was in there as well. And then you showed up at Sydney. So
And
so
I'd done the Brisbane Marathon before, and Tara just had a pacemaker fitted as well.
So you think about that sort of condensed intensity of training and or maintaining your training, and then doing races as well. Yeah, I think that was a pretty tough day for most of us, but we got over it and we moved forward. So
yeah, and I guess Peter as well, around the mental side of things as well. When you are in that training block and you're going train, race, and you achieve your challenge, it can make you feel a bit weird coming out of that, I guess, from you're now starting to back off and do a little bit less, and your routine in life changes where it's less focused on running as much as it was beforehand. And it can give us a bit of a struggle at sometimes to give ourselves permission to just switch off and not worry about running or not dream about racing. And, you know, is that something that you're familiar with?
Yes, you said a key word there, which is routine. It becomes quite a comfort for you to have that structure. I know I love having a training plan that I can see in advance and I know exactly what I'm doing each week. And you get very, I guess, swept up in that. And your whole week revolves around it, really, as a marathoner. You know, even at the moment, my weekends revolve around my training. So when you've finished your race and all of a sudden you've got nothing there in your Garmin Connect or whatever training plan you're following, it is unnerving that you do feel a bit shaky and you can have that uneasiness of, you know, I'm not sure what to do with myself. So that is, it can rock you. It can, I know generally after my races, I'm really high for about 2 or 3 days and think, you know, wow. And you just look at the photos, you see the event's social media page and you have all that wonderful reminders of what the day was about. But then, you know, come Wednesday or Thursday, that's when it can sort of hit you and you think, oh my gosh, you know, you'd normally go for a run to give yourself a boost, but you're meant to be resting. And what do you do now? So you can find yourself in that catch-22 where you miss those endorphins. You really could benefit from getting out there, but at the same time, your body's screaming at you not to run. So that's a tough one. Yep.
Tara, you're nodding away.
Oh, I'm just thinking exactly the same thing. Like, and I think that's where you get suckered into signing up for new races again straight away as well, because you sit there and you just go, oh my God, I just did the best ever, and I'm so good and I feel amazing. And then within a couple of days, quite a lot of races will actually release their packages within 2 weeks, and if those runners' high adrenaline is still going through your body and you've had a brilliant race, you're like, right, I'm signing up again, and then you're like, oh, what's the next race, and you just get so swept up in this whole thing. And we've got friends that have started marathon running 2024 and signed up for 5 or 6 of them since, like just back to back, and are now realizing, I think we've bitten off more than we can chew, because they've got that adrenaline from the first couple, and now they're like, oh dear, this was not a good idea. So, yeah. But yeah, I think it is. I think you get swept up so quickly in that excitement, the adrenaline after the race, because race day is so different to training, as we all know.
It's so exceptional, isn't it? Like, it's that one special day where you don't realize how good it's going to be. Generally, it is very good, and you do enjoy it, and it is a celebration of your training. And it's, most of the time when I cross the marathon finish line, I just cry with relief and, oh my God, I'm finished. I did that. And it's a big sort of, that must give you a rush of, I don't know what it is, but I always say to new runners, it's a really good idea to hide your credit card the week after the race, because you will be tempted. You will want to sign up for something because you just want that feeling back. It's very addictive.
It's like race organisers just know, don't they?
They do.
100%.
Hey, sorry, Tony. Yep.
And
you go.
To me, I think it's all about, whether it's physical or mental, it's about giving yourself space to recover, because your body gets stronger when you recover. It doesn't get stronger when you're going to just keep banging it against the wall. So it's really important that you I know it's a phrase we always use, that you listen to your body, but I also think it's important from your mental state not to listen to your watch, because your watch is going to start telling you that you're straining or detraining or unproductive and all this sort of stuff. And you have to know in the heart of hearts that you're actually doing the right thing by your body. So, some simple little tips: sleep more, walk more, and run less for the week or two after the marathon, until you're ready to go tie your shoes on and get out there and do something a bit larger. But yeah,
and taking that on board, I guess there's things like that we can do in our training blocks when we know we're getting fatigued in our training blocks. And to be honest, you mentioned it a few weeks ago, Peter, as well, that you're having troubles with some of your longer runs. I know Lucia's having troubles at the moment with her longer runs for Gold Coast. Tara and I are at the end of a training block as well. But is there anything we can do as runners, I guess? And I'll start with you, Tara, around things like training, nutrition, mindset, those sort of things that we can do in the lead up to the race day that helps us prevent getting those post-run blues later on and not wearing ourselves out?
Absolutely. Looking at food that actually nourishes your body rather than just looking at food to feed you. Like, make sure it's something that's actually going to promote well-being within your body, like protein, good carbohydrates, not the processed sugars and processed breads and stuff like that, but have some really good wholesome food that actually makes you feel good as well. I think that helps. I think getting really good sleep is really important. So a lot of people don't get enough sleep, and that doesn't help with your recovery. But having a week off, it's okay. If you are feeling that fatigued and your body, your training plan is saying, oh, you've got to do a 30K run today. If you do it as a 30K run walk, if you really feel like you must do something, it's okay. Like, I just did that on the weekend. It's okay. I'm not going to miss out on anything because I didn't do my 30K run at 6 minute 30 pace, or not that I'd ever do it at that pace, but you know what I mean? Like, it's okay to run, walk. It's okay to rest. If your body is saying to you, I need a sleep in today, have that sleep in. Don't feel that you actually have to go out and hurt yourself, because that can actually do more detriment to your body and to your mind, and you're not going to have a good race if you do that.
Yeah, agree. Have you got anything further to add to that, Peter?
Yeah, I've been saying in my head a lot lately, distance beats pace. So I really thank you for sharing that expression, because I get very self-conscious about what people must think when they see my pace on Strava. But the reality is I'm recovering from an illness and I need to practice walking for Gold Coast. You know, as a 6 hour 40 pacer, I learnt the hard way in my very first year. If I don't walk in my long runs, you're going to end up with a stress injury, because it's totally different muscles. Your legs need to be prepared for it. So along with great nutrition, I completely agree with that. Hydration and sleep. I think sometimes you get to a certain age as well where if you don't listen to your body, it's going to make the decision for you and give you an overuse injury, or you're going to tear something, or it'll find a way to take you out if you don't listen. So lately, I've been more forgiving of myself, and in the recovery, just saying, you know what, I think I'd just like to walk today. Or I think I'd just enjoy going to the gym and doing some weights. It's all gains. I think as long as you're doing something that your mind and your body are happy with, it's not going to take away from your training, and it'll increase your enjoyment and your readiness for the next run. So while we do say it a lot, it is really important to listen to your body and what do I need today, and follow that instinct.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think also, Tim, there's a lot of talk now about what they call a reverse taper. So you taper into a race and then you taper out of a race to bring you back into that training process. And I actually like that thought process, because it gives you that, once again, a lot of this is about how we think and our ego. And even Peter just talking about what are people going to think of me on Strava based on my times. You're going to love Code for Zone 2, by the way, Peter.
I'm looking forward.
So, but it's our mindset that does the most damage to it. And, you know, if we call those couple of weeks or 2 weeks after your main race a reverse taper, where you then are getting yourself ready to get back into training, you could do then a pre-week and then you get into training.
Yeah. I love a pre-week. I'm in one.
I don't understand what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about there. But anyway, and I agree. I think that's a good way to put it, because that moves into our next question, and it's probably the one around you've achieved your goal. You've got through your training block. You've gone through your race or your series of races. You've achieved what you wanted to achieve. And then you go through this period, whether you call it a reverse taper or whatever, where you go from that structured program that you've been in. You're looking at the program. It says you've got to do 5 runs a week. You've got to do this distance at this time. And then you go to this freedom. And I know for myself personally, and I've talked about it in the past, I go through a real heavy eating phase for some reason when I'm not running, and I eat and eat and eat and eat because it's not on the program and I just want to keep eating and I don't care anymore. But that can spiral out of control pretty quickly. And I think if you don't have a clear purpose or something else to aim for pretty soon, you can spiral downwards into a bad place, I guess, where you know, you're eating the wrong foods, you're not feeling as motivated, you're not getting up, and all of a sudden you become less and less motivated to be able to do much. So is that something you guys, I know Tara, you laughed, I know Peter laughed, but is that something you guys have experienced? I'll start again with you, Tara.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, I'll be the first to admit, doing a half marathon 4 weeks after getting a pacemaker, and then doing the quaddie at the Gold Coast 9 weeks afterwards, and then just doing all those races up until Sydney. So within 5 months of getting a pacemaker put in, and I'd done 2 marathons, probably 5 or 6 half marathons, because I just expected my body to do what it was doing previously, didn't let it recover. But in my mind, I didn't want to fail. So it was mostly my mind that was going, this is not going to change you. You must do this. And it's not a good way to be, because I ended up gaining an awful lot of weight. And it doesn't do well for your mindset either, because your body is, you're wanting to do what you should be able to do, but because you're so fatigued, tired, sick, whatever, you're not going to get to that performance level, which then makes you spiral further and further downwards and can put you into a really seriously bad spot. So I think the most important thing is to, if you are injured, if you are sick, if you are feeling that downward spiral happen, be kind to yourself. Don't expect yourself to be where you should be or where you were previously, because like Peter has been sick just recently and she was feeling guilty for her walks. Nobody is looking at what speed you are doing on Strava. And if they are and they're judging you for that, they're probably not the people you want on Strava, and you probably need to get them off, because running isn't just about speed, it is about enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, you shouldn't be doing it. That's always my theory.
Yeah. And you know what, Tara, too, it's all in my head. No one has ever said anything. Even in I think I've been posting about my running on Instagram for a good 12 years now. I've never had one troll or a negative comment, which is probably the reason I'm still there. All I have is encouragement. And my true friends know exactly what I'm doing anyway. And I don't think they would care either. But, you know, I can relate to this, Tim, like you're talking about food. I know when I first started marathon running 10 years ago, I would think nothing of doing a long run and then sinking half a bottle of red wine that night afterwards because I deserved it. Like that was my reward for getting that run done. I could not do that now. No way. Yeah, but
only half the bottle. You're a lightweight.
Maybe full sometimes, but now I couldn't even have a glass. Like I wouldn't be able to sleep at this age. So, you know, I struggle with giving myself more than a week off after a marathon, especially this year when I'm doing them back to back pretty much. I'm really rethinking that decision now. I'm thinking, oh yeah, I am doing a lot this year, but so are you guys. So it's important that we talk about that and share strategies and, you know, ways to recover. And I know I take my recovery a lot more serious now, along with my rest and nutrition and sleep, and, you know, sort of freak out a bit if I don't get my 75 sleep score minimum on Garmin. You know, that really affects my day. I should stop sleeping with it on, actually. But I will allude to this in my tip later. You got to think about the JOMO too. Do you guys remember what JOMO is? Like the joy of missing out? Yeah. Sometimes it's bloody great to miss out on your early run. You can sleep in and have a coffee. You can go out for breakfast, or on the weekends, my God, you can go to the beach and have a swim. You know, you really need to think about, okay, no tempo run today. What awesome thing could I be doing instead? And just reframe it. Just like we've said, you know, that there are other ways to look at it, and we do need to give ourselves permission to just let loose and have some fun.
100%. Tony, you got anything further to add to that?
I think the discussion's been really good, but one of the key things that, you know, and Peter's alluded to it, it's that structure we get into, that we get used to, that's one of the hardest things to say goodbye to. But the way that I'd be looking at that is if, you know, so whether it's, you know, your weekly park run, so in, you know, the week after running a marathon, instead of going and running the park run, maybe you volunteer. So you're still there, you're still with your running crew, all of that sort of stuff. You're still going to have your coffee and breakfast afterwards. And maybe like we do our long runs on a Saturday, but a lot of people we know do them on the Sunday. So instead of thinking I've got to get out for my long run on the Sunday, maybe that becomes a long walk and then followed up by something. So you can still keep some structure just by doing something that's going to be probably a little bit more intense, less intense.
Yes. All right. So how do we get back out of there? How do we get out of that sort of downward spiral, I guess? So one of the things I know for us, we sort of shift out of race mode into foundation mode. Tara and I talk about building our foundation and maintaining our foundation. And I know we've talked about in the past that we sort of have a foundation where every week it's 21 Ks of running. We've sort of come off that a little bit in recent times with some of the health issues Tara's gone through, but we try and maintain that foundation, and it's just our steady state where we are. It's the place where we feel comfortable. It gets us out, but it's not a hard run. It's not preparing for anything. Do you guys have any other sort of tips or ideas or things you do to get you into that next phase? What should your training look like when you're not preparing for a race? And are you always the sort of runners that are always all in, or are sometimes off, or is there something in the middle that you guys do? I'll start with Tara. I think it would be a quick one because I probably answered it for you there, Tara. But have you got anything else to add there around how to move back into that next phase, and which may not be a race phase?
Yeah, and I guess you are right, Tim. They're just building that foundation and keeping it there. After Sydney, as Tony was saying, we all got the marathon blues, and I sort of didn't give up running, but I certainly stopped that long distance running, and I decided that it was time to let my body heal, my mind heal, and recover. So in doing that, to build back up to that foundational stage was really, really hard for me, because I could run probably 5 or 6 kilometers and then I'm like, that's it, I'm done. And from somebody who was used to running, as you were saying, 21 kilometers every week, to not being able to run even 7, I got really frustrated with myself. And it was a case of being gentle and then just go, no, take a step back. You don't have to be back to where you were. You need to just build again and be gentle with yourself. So the most important thing is, just because Tim and I are doing that 21 Ks doesn't mean you have to. Just find your comfortable spot that you are comfortable with and maintain that. So even if it's a 5K park run, that's fine, but you don't have to PB your park run every time. So I guess, yeah, you're right, Tim. Foundation work is the most important thing for me.
Yeah. And Peter?
I like that foundation block. That sounds great. I must admit, to prevent this happening, I always make sure I've got something planned, and it doesn't have to be another marathon or even another race, just something to look forward to. Like maybe you're really keen to get into a regular swimming routine, or you want to go try reformer Pilates, or you want to go to the gym and get into some plyometrics work, something that you're curious about. Plan that for after your marathon, so you've got something to look forward to. And it can literally be anything that you want to do. And then you've got that permission to go enjoy it. I don't really remember a time when I didn't have a race on the calendar, but that's just what works for me. Even though I don't really enjoy racing, I just like the events. But, if I did have a block where a training plan hadn't officially started, I might do some MAF running or some zone 2 running and just think, wow, how good's this? Or try and even get on my bike, or, go to the gym and use the elliptical, just some different things. That's enough to keep me interested. And then I do look at my training plan. All right, it's starting in 4 weeks' time. I have a look at that first week and what's going to be up. And then I'll just start preparing for that. Like I know the first week I have to do, say, 3 6K runs during the week. All right, well, next week I'll do 4K, and then the week after I'll do 5K. And then when that plan starts, I'm going to be ready. And that's what we call a pre-week, Tim. That's how we do it. It's building up to that week
like
1.
More than 1 week, it sounds like. But I was also... I was just going to say that's foundation, but anyway,
yes,
I was also going to say mixing it up could also possibly include trail running as well.
It could, yeah. Or going on hiking, getting some hills into your legs. That's all going to benefit your running.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it.
I'm a little bit like Peter, and I sort of can't think of a recent time where we've gone out of a marathon and then sort of didn't have anything, except for in the case of Amsterdam, I guess, because we haven't, but we were taking a purposeful break. But sometimes it's just nice to find joy in just doing some, like you've built up, you've run the marathon, you've recovered, you've got that strength within you. But sometimes it's good just to go out for an easy 10 or an easy 8, or, keeping it relatively light and just getting that joy back of running, because, while we love running and we love being in a block and we love building towards something, sometimes it's just good to get out there and just run with a smile on our face, knowing that we're not necessarily, we're only doing it because we love running. So, but that's what I've found. So yeah, a little bit like everyone else, we're normally always building for something, but sometimes it's good just to go out and say, well, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try and get my 5K park run down by 3 minutes, or and then our focus. So we've built the strength from the marathon block, and then we've got that to build some speed. So sometimes it's good just to put it in a shaker and mix it all up.
And I must admit, like, one of my favourite things to do is Friday morning. I've got a very good friend that we used to run together, and she got much faster than me. So if I want to run with her now, I can't talk, but 95% of what we do is it's a social chit chat. So it's our catch up time. So we just walk and talk. And you know what? That's one of the highlights of my week, rather than the actual running part of it, is just catching up with her and walking. So that's another thing that you can keep yourself in that motivation with, is catching up with friends. My running group that I catch up with on Tuesday mornings, like I said, I didn't go hard at it last week. I just did it 80%, but it was nice to be around the other girls, so that's another really good thing.
Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there because we are running out of time, but I'm just going to end it with exactly that consistency over intensity is some of the things you need to focus on as you move into that next stage. Find the enjoyment that leads to that longevity, and whether it is social runs and walks and talks like Tara has said, or mixing it up by doing some park runs or 5Ks and trying to get pressure faster at those, as Tony sort of said, or even it's just mixing up the training a little bit. It's all good. The goal is all about staying in the game long term. We want to see as many people keep on running in this game. We don't want to see people come in, achieve a goal, feel blue, don't want to do any more, and then leave it. It's not how it should be. So my final closing line for everybody is the finish line isn't the end of the journey. It's just the start of your next chapter as a runner. And I think we need to just remember that there's always another race. There's always another training block, but hit it when you're ready to hit it. Don't push yourself into it just for the sake of doing it. So thanks, guys. That's been a great little chat there. Now, before we jump into Peter's tip tonight, it's time for our last clue from Tara on her trivia. Tara, what's your final clue?
I thought you'd forgotten my name there, Tim. So the hesitation was like, yeah, okay. So you should be able to guess it with this one. And Tim, yes, we'll let you guess it first if you think that's what it is. This item contains overlapping air chambers that inflate and deflate sequentially, usually starting from your feet and moving upwards, and acts as an external pump to enhance venous return, which is the blood flowing back to your heart, and stimulate lymphatic drainage.
I don't know what the actual technical name is, but it's those inflatable leg boot things that you wear that massage your legs and pump the blood flow, yeah? What are they called?
Normatec. I win. Normatec, right?
Normatec, that's the ones. Well, they've got lots of different ones, but that's one brand of them.
Yes.
We're aiming for a sponsor from them. How many times do we have to say before we say their name before we get a sponsorship?
Few episodes.
Are we showing the one set around all 4 of us or 5 of us?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for that, Tara. That was a good piece of trivia tonight. Now it's that time of the week for Peter to give us her tip.
New to the start line, strong from the heart. Peter's got wisdom guiding every part. Flying RuNR, rising up fast. Tips that stick, lessons that last. Every step forward, confidence grows. Join the journey, let's how it
tip. Peter, what's your tip of the week?
Well, guys, it's all about JOMO again and what you can do if you've had a big goal and you've achieved it and you're not really sure where you're going to go next. So look, unless you're injured or really don't want to, when you feel ready for a run and your body's recovered, why not just get out there for a casual shuffle? Leave your watch, go to your favorite route and just feel the fun of no pressure. Should really listen to myself there. Or you can get social, like Tony said, pop along to your park run, volunteer, go see your running buddies. You don't have to run, you can just have a chat and go for coffee. People are going to be genuinely interested in what you've just achieved, and talking about it with them will help you adjust back to normal life. Maybe it's time to add in some new activity. Try something you've always wanted to do, like maybe reformer Pilates or going and joining a swimming group or a cycling group, and have something new to look forward to. It's great for your mental health and it will benefit your running muscles as well. Have you got something new to look forward to? It could be a new class, it could be signing up for a different type of event. Maybe you've always been a road runner, you could try a trail event or a backyard ultra, or go to High Rocks or a Tough Mudder. There's so many options. And don't forget, now's a good time to re-engage with friends and family that you've been neglecting over the last few months, or if you've been missing out on catch-ups. You deserve a rest and to enjoy some of life's pleasures with them, like having meals out, having a drink at the pub, and maybe a walking and coffee date. I hope these tips will help you. And just remember, like post-holiday blues, they will disappear. Give it time and enjoy not having to set your alarm for your weekend-long run for just a little while. And that's my tip this week, guys.
Perfect. I can't wait to not set the alarm one day for a long run on a Sunday. It would be perfect. All right. Thanks for that, Peter. This episode is about to end, but before we do that, Tara, what is on next week's show?
Excellent. Thanks, Tim. So next week on the Flying RuNR podcast, it's all about race week excitement as we lock it in. The bags will be packed, flights are booked, and Gold Coast Marathon, here we come. So whether you're chasing a personal best, lining up for your first Gold Coast Marathon weekend, or simply soaking in the atmosphere, this episode is your ultimate guide to one of Australia's most iconic and our favourite running weekends. We'll be right in the middle of it ourselves, sharing the nerves, the hype, and everything that comes with race week. We're breaking down our top 10 tips for mastering the Gold Coast Marathon. This is covering everything from travel, logistics, to race day strategy, fueling, mindset, and those small details that can make a big difference when it counts. It's practical, relatable, and geared towards helping you feel calm, confident, and ready to run your best. If you're heading to the Gold Coast or thinking about it in the future, this is one episode you'll definitely want to tune into. And as we keep saying, we are the only podcast with 5 7-star world major marathoners. And as usual, it will be another great episode and definitely not one to be missed.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Tara. And it will be one not to be missed, especially for those who are running Gold Coast for the very first time. That's it for this week's show. Thanks, guys. It's definitely been another fun episode, and it's been great catching up with you all again. We love doing the podcast on Monday night, and I love catching up with you to talk about running every week. It's fantastic. So we love making this podcast for you, our listeners. So why not contact us with a message on Instagram or Facebook, or email us at happyrunning@flyingrunner.com and tell us your thoughts. We love getting feedback, and we'll reply to most messages in a very timely manner. Maybe you just want to let us know your thoughts about finding a way to get back into running after achieve some of your goals. You can watch this episode on Spotify, YouTube, or just listen to us on Apple, Amazon, and all major platforms. Every step counts. Keep running, and we'll see you next time on the Flying RuNR podcast. Until then, happy running.
Happy
running.
Teach the Flying RuNR. Run far, run free. Host the 7 stars. Inclusive